School achievement, in other words, what the child achieves, what the child eventually becomes capable of doing, is not dependent only on the child's ability or the child's potential. It is also heavily dependent on what the teacher does in the classroom, especially with the slow learners. If I'm slow, what is my teacher doing with me? That's critical. I'm normally left alone to fend for myself, and I can't do it, and so I become slower and slower. That's not the right approach that teachers should have. Teachers should help these slow learners get better and better. In fact, what teachers do is they spend more time with the bright kids who really don't need them, and they spend less time with the slow kids who actually need them. That needs to change. Race and ethnicity, cultural backgrounds. Are you from the rural background? Are you from the urban background? If you're from the rural background, the assumption is you must be slow, you must be weak, you cannot be as bright as the city kids. That's not true either. And high expectations in elementary grades are stronger for girls than for boys. Normally, what teachers expect the girls to be better students than boys. And that's what then is proved. If you look at our matric results, our intermediate results, girls tend to do better than boys. And that should change. It's not that girls can't do better than boys, but the assumption simply being that girls are better. Yes, they are. Boys have a different psyche to education. But what are you as the teacher doing to change that psyche so that the boys will become better learners than the girls in your classroom? Expectations teachers hold for students can be generated as early as the first few days in school. And honestly, for any teacher, if it takes you more than the first week to determine the milieu or the mixture of students in your classroom, you need to do something else. 1 week, 5 working days are enough to tell you what kind of a class you have, who the mixture is made up of, and what you can do about it. That's the planning then that is needed. You can't take a whole year to learn what your classroom is consisting of. That's too long. Okay, and what then becomes is the self-fulfilling prophecy. Because I tell you you're bright, you're good, and I tell you you're slow, you're weak, you are not going to learn, you live that prophecy. You self-fulfill it. The bright kid will work harder because that's my expectation of him. The slow kid will not work because that's not my expectation of the slow kid. And that becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy. The students believe what the teachers say and they actually do just that, rightly or wrongly. So you see how the bright kids in our classroom already have an advantage over the slow kids in our classrooms. The higher one's social status, the less the willingness to diagnose the same behavioral traits. When a bright kid misbehaves, it's looked at very differently than when a slow kid or a weak kid misbehaves. Okay? That should not be. If a bright kid has misbehaved, he has misbehaved. Finish. That should be it. Both the cases of misbehavior should be treated at an equal level, not differently. Because labeling does tend to have that kind of effect. That is exactly what teachers have to be aware of. Are we unduly signaling out the slow kids and favoring the bright ones in our classrooms? That should not be happening. So teacher expectations are not automatically self-fulfilling. If a student works hard and if there are parents at home who are willing to spend time with students, I think the slow, the weak child can change, can improve, can become better. But we need the cooperation of the student, the teacher, and the parents for that to happen.